All right, today we're getting into some people's business. We're jumping into the courtroom and we're going to be some inquisitive human beings. That's what we're going to do. So before I get started, just tap that subscribe button, show the channel some support, and like this video.
Mrs. Smith, you admit that you allowed your husband to sign the birth certificate and initially believed he was Cookie's father, but as your daughter got older, she no longer looked like him. And now you believe another man is her dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, take us back to the beginning of your relationship with Mrs. Smith.
In the beginning, we actually met in middle school. We went out through, I want to say 7th, 8th grade.
This is my first time coming across a video where it's not like a one-night stand type thing. It's not just friends with benefits. These guys actually know each other from middle school. So they have something going for them so far.
And then we reconnected after high school.
All right, and you dated, fell in love?
Right, we actually got married.
Okay.
We actually ended up getting new phones around that time.
Okay.
So it's just like the other phones were kind of lingering around. So I'm just casually just going through them. And, you know, I saw text messages, some photos between my wife and some other cat.
What did you see? What was the exchange?
Well, it was like I miss you. You know, when you miss a person, you know, apparently you've seen them before. You know, nude photos.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Nude photos. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. So you go from middle school, high school, marriage, to text messages with an ex-man saying, I miss you, and nude photos. This is interesting.
Nude photos of your wife or of the man?
Excuse me, Your Honor.
little bit
I've
of
never
both.
seen any of these alleged text messages that he's talking about.
Well, did you send them? I mean, even if you haven't seen them, did you send them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well,
The fact that you try to deny that there was any text message because you were unsure that he saw the text messages just shows your character right there, because clearly you knew you sent the text messages and he's talking about these text messages and you have the nerve talking about some you don't know about these text messages he's talking about.
then he's seen them. So what happened, Mr. Smith, when you see these text messages with nude photos and I miss you?
I basically, you know, I let my parents know what was going on, and I packed up and I left. I had to.
So you then called your family member, your mother.
Right. Just to, you know, because she's my support. You know, she helps me on everything. You know what I mean? Everything. And that's just out of natural, just natural affection for
You
my
were
mom.
upset.
Yeah, I had to go to my mama. I had to. So
See, that's a crazy thing to go through. At least he had his mom to help him through the situation and kind of give him that, like, comfort. Because, yeah, I can't imagine getting married as a young man and, like, already you're going through infidelities. Your wife is, oh, my God.
she talked me through it, and she actually, you know, helped me get through a lot.
So at some point, Miss Smith, you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, ma'am. When I found out I was pregnant, we were very excited. I told Christian we weren't together, and I thought that this could be a chance for us to reconnect and make our marriage work. And he agreed, and shortly after we got back together.
And so you found out you were pregnant. You told Mr. Smith, when you found out she was pregnant, were you happy about it?
Extremely happy.
You were extremely happy.
Extremely happy.
And she said she hoped that this would help rekindle your relationship, did it?
I didn't know what love was until I met this person.
Right.
So then, and I'm having a baby with this person as well. You can't ask for more. I already got everything I need.
That is crazy. See, this is a quote unquote good man right here. This is a good man right here, and he's going through this at this young age.
So, were you there at the hospital when she was born?
I mean, priority number one.
Okay.
Hey, sure, but it was a cesarean section birth. So what I made sure was, since I couldn't cut the cord, I asked the doctor, can I lean over? Can I see? Because you can only see that one time. It can only happen one time. So now, when Cookie is 18, 21, 40, I can tell her
that
I saw you come into this earth. You know what I mean? The first time you just came out in there.
I understand. And so you were there.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were happy.
Ecstatic.
If this is not his kid, that's heartbreaking. This man is actually trying to be there for this kid 1000%. You could tell what type of person he is, kind of, just based off of what he's saying right now. You can kind of see where his heart is.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. And she has your last name.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, Mr. Smith, at what point do you start having paternity doubts about Christina?
So I'm in the shower one day. I believe Khalid's at work, Cookie's out there, I'm watching her, and I just noticed something just that doesn't need to be there. I didn't put it there. I know everything that goes on in my house, so it's just a CD that I see that's out of place. I'm like, I didn't put this in here. So the number that was on the CD, you know how people can pass out CDs?
Yes, their contact information.
Right, that number, it's just something about that number. I ain't forget about that number. And then I saw an Instagram name, so I immediately I look up their Instagram. So I'm scrolling, man, I see somebody holding my daughter.
Whoa.
With a,
What?
with a cheese, one of these, with a cheese on their face, like it's all happy and everything.
So does it have a caption?
Yo, I'm fucking crying. She said, does it have a caption? Yeah, that's a valid question.
It did have a caption, but I not for word verbatim, but it was something in the line of him claiming her, though. It was that.
So this photo, you actually submitted in your court papers. This is the photo you saw?
That's crazy. Look at this picture. This picture really just shows affection and all. Like, that just means she has this next man thinking he's the father too, for real. Nasty business.
On Instagram?
Honestly, though, I don't want to, I don't like looking at that. I don't like looking at that at all.
You can't even look at it.
Nah.
Who is this man?
Well, Your Honor, his name is Joseph.
I'm surprised he can even look at her. Like, I wouldn't be able to look at her either.
I actually met Joseph after we separated, and around the time I was very vulnerable.
Vulnerable. That's always the word. What do you mean you were vulnerable? Always, I was vulnerable. Oh, I was drinking. Vulnerable. Oh, I was feeling lonely. Vulnerable. Oh, I was feeling too happy. Vulnerable. What the fuck? When are you never vulnerable?
And he was the only one showing me any type of attention or any love, which I needed because I felt lonely around the time because my husband left me alone.
See, what'd I say? Lonely, vulnerable. Psst.
So, yeah.
You had sex with him.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you use protection?
No, ma'am.
Did you tell him you were married?
No, I did not.
Skeezer, you knew what you were fucking. Oh my God, you knew what you were. You knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing. Look at her face. Just look at her face, Skeezer.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So Cookie is now 4 years old, and you believe that she is this man's biological child,
Yes, Your Honor.
not your husband.
No.
But for the first 2 years, you allowed your husband to believe that she was his without ever saying, while we were separated, I had sex with another guy, unprotected. When I got pregnant, there's a question.
Yes, ma'am, because I didn't feel like it was any need to bring it up to him because when me and Joseph hooked up, we were separated. So I didn't tell my husband about it.
But at the point you find out you're pregnant, shouldn't you at least put these cards on the table?
Yeah,
Because he's bonding with this child for 2 years.
correct.
Especially
And you
after
knew
I
the whole,
asked you.
did you know the whole time that there was a possibility that this other gentleman could be her biological father the entire time?
At first, I had no doubt in my mind that Christian, wasn't the father of my child. But as Christina got older and her features started changing, that's when I, had some doubts about it.
You see, that I go reach you when you're too fucky. Because you're slack. Slackness doesn't even describe you.
But now your husband has formed a bond with this beautiful little girl. He's on her birth certificate.
Right.
He's raised her. And you never stop to say, I better say something?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, she's so cute. So if he has a caption saying, this is my child, you had told this other man that the child was his?
Yes.
Yeah, before me.
How this girl is trifling. This is horror behavior. This is oh my fucking Lord.
Right? Before me? Like I don't mean anything. Just this random person gets the best information in the world and you feel like you can't tell me the one thing that I actually need to hear for my sanity.
I think we need to hear from that other
tough.
man, and he is here. Jerome, please escort Mr. Joseph Prader into the courtroom.
That's tough. That's tough.
We're going to have you go right up to the witness stand right next to the judge.
Mr. Prader, how did you meet Miss Smith?
I seen her walking down the sidewalk, and I actually ran behind her, and we exchanged numbers. We talked on the phone for a little bit, not too much in depth, but we talked for a little bit, and then maybe a couple days after that, we met up.
Did she tell you she was married?
No, ma'am, I had no clue.
So when did you find out about the baby?
I don't know a time verbatim, but the first time that I've seen Cookie in person was she was 2 years old.
Did you ever find out she was pregnant at all 2 years before?
You know what? I don't even remember verbatim.
Everything is blood clot verbatim. What is verbatim exactly? I don't know which part of, I don't know. That word is not in my region. And none of the circles I've ran in, I've heard verbatim. What exactly is verbatim?
I don't.
So tell me about the first time you met Cookie.
I was in downtown. We met in a public place, and I saw her walking, and she was in a stroller, and she just looked up at me with a mischievous, like one of those type things, and I was like, yo, you know me from somewhere? Like, that's when I felt like it might have been my daughter.
You did?
Yeah, there was something there, like she knew me already.
And so when you met her, did Miss Smith say to you, this is your child?
I ain't gonna lie, when I seen her, she looks just like my dad. She looks just like us, so, I never really doubted it. You understand what I'm saying? I always thought that, yo, this is my child.
And so while all this is happening, at 2 years old, you find out, you accept it, you've got this little girl. Do you make plans to stay in her life and to be a part of her life and to take care of her?
Yes, ma'am, I did, but at the same time, I wasn't in a position to be a structure of a good parent or anything at all.
See, this is crazy. So she went out there and cheated on her, basically her husband. Yeah, she cheated on her husband with a man that can't even provide for a kid. Oh my Lord. This story just keeps getting worse by the minute. This story is a horrible, horrible representation of women.
So you're saying that you did not start providing support for the child?
I mean, I would see her, and we would
So
spend
you
time,
would see her, and
but
you
as
would
far
spend
as-
time with her?
Yes, ma'am, but as far as
How many
financial-
times did you see her and spend time with her? She's 4 now. After you met her when she was 2, did you see her more than one occasion?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you'd always refer to yourself as daddy?
Yes, ma'am.
And all this time, Mr. Smith, you're also spending time with her?
Of course.
And and having absolutely no idea this entire encounter occurred, still referring to yourself as daddy as well.
She's here playing Dolly Blood Clot House with 2 pussy clot man. And then the pickney is just there getting confused. Why are you confusing the child?
Miss Smith, what kind of web you weaving?
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you time to think on it. I'm gonna hear from your mother. Please stand. Ma'am, step over to the podium. State your name for the record, ma'am.
My name is Tony Brooks.
And you are Mr. Smith's mother.
I am, Your Honor.
Your son has already said that when he first, had issues in his marriage, he ended up moving out. They ended up getting back together. They had this beautiful baby. This baby, I'm sure if your son thinks it's his daughter, that's in your heart and mind your grandchild.
It is my grandchild. It is. I love her. She's been there. When they broke up, I've never thought they should have been together in the first place. I always feel like their relationship is just toxic. It doesn't work.
See, I don't understand this, because if you're going to say you know it's your grandchild, you hope it's your grandchild, but at the same time you're going to say you knew they were toxic, it didn't make sense, that's your son's whole wife right there. And then the fact of the matter is there's a whole next man on the podium that she was fucking raw. And this is a possibility that that's his kid. So how are you claiming this kid so boldly? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, how? Where's the logic there, Mom?
At what point do you even find out about Mr. Prader?
I kept asking him, like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's it? He wouldn't tell me. And he finally was like, look, I got to show you something. And he pulls up the Instagram and just puts it out there. He was like, see, I guess you were right, Ma. And I didn't want it to be a point of me being right. That's not the point. The truth just needs to be out.
But with that said, the truth is that you obviously didn't know that from that 2-year point, Mr. Prader is still in contact and seeing Cookie as her father, and your son is still functioning like Cookie's father. And Miss Smith, even though you opened up and told Miss Brooks the truth, you still were allowing Mr. Prader to see her behind your husband's back.
Until till just now. I didn't even know any of that.
And Mr. Prader, you did not know about Mr. Smith.
Oh, man.
So, Miss Smith, why?
I just couldn't find the right time to.
There was never going to be a right time. Let's talk about it. When was the right time going to be? Please explain, because jeez, I have no words for this fucking girl.
Say anything about it.
When you have issues like this, the right time is the soonest time available. Because that means the child would have clarity. Your child. And so as we stand here today, what are your hopes in this moment? I assume, Mr. Smith, you hope that you are her biological father?
Definitely, without a doubt. I can't really ask for anything more. Honestly, I would love that.
That's bold of him, because if my wife did all of that to me, it would be hard as hell for me to really, really want this kid to be mine, because at this point, I'm looking to abort this whole ship. Like, I really don't want the kid to be mine. Like, I don't know. That's bold of him. He's a hell of a man.
And Mr. Prader, I assume since you are attached to her and believe you're her biological father, you also hope you are her biological father.
I do hope she's my daughter. Like, at the end of the day, I do want to apologize to bruh and say that I feel like at the same time, if I am the father, she's just going to have 2, because he's been there for 2 years.
This bum-ass nigga sitting here talking about she's going to have 2 dads. He just admitted in public court that he can't provide for the kid. And so now he wants to get this guy to help him to raise his kid. basically to help him with his responsibility. I see what he did there. No wonder she cheated on her husband with him. He's a smooth one. He's slick.
4 years, and at the end of the day, I'd be wrong to come to snatch them.
Miss Smith, what do you hope for?
I'm just hoping that we could all work together for Christina, because at the end of the day, it's about her.
And I'm ready to get the results for her. Jerome, I'll take the envelope, please.
You go, Your Honor.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. If you need paternity court, call us at 855-883-6223. In the case of Smith versus Smith, pertaining to whether Mr. Smith or Mr. Prader is the biological father of 4-year-old Christina Smith, it has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Prader.
Just look at that. This is what life does, you know? Because now the father of this kid is the guy that can't afford to be in a kid's life. He said he doesn't have a structure. He probably can't provide financially. Probably he doesn't have time to dedicate to a child. He probably does. He said himself he doesn't have what it takes to raise a child. And it's his kid.
I'm sorry.
Silence. Whole courtroom silent. Why?
I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. I know that was not the news you wanted.
That's tough,
Oh, I know.
but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. It's my baby. It's my baby.
But we have to be honest, it's his baby too. And he is the biological father, and you are the legal father, which means this web is still continuing. It's complex. So we have got ourselves into...
Yeah, not we. We didn't get ourselves into no situation. I would be looking to sue this lady and get my name off this birth certificate, and I would be looking to exit the situation altogether. Yeah, I understand this child is probably going to be confused a little bit, but I'm going to get out while it's still early before this continues on. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. This girl does not deserve to... Listen to me, man. Listen, y'all.
a real situation with emotional issues, legal issues, marriage issues. We have counseling and resources here in this courtroom. I want you all to sit down.
That was a crazy episode. I don't know. You guys can comment what you guys think. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your feelings, because this was crazy to me. Peace.